you're pouring, you're nothing. Wonder why that happened. I guess we're still connected. Okay. Yeah, I know I should look into that. I should probably have started a VPN or something to establish a more solid link. What would that make you happy? The the way I see it is if I had my shit together, I would make a press release that says, "Hey, guess what? Uh, that old adage, uh, it's never too late, must be true because after 30 years, Zot the Avenger is getting retro achievements on retroachievements.org to blah 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 with all the titles that were played on video games and more, blah blah blah." You know, if I had any business acumen whatsoever, if my neck wasn't fucking killing me, and if I wasn't jonesing for a fucking fentanyl patch or something that I haven't had in 2 years, yeah, I've been in limbo for 2 years. So, but yeah, I would say that. I'd say, yeah, Zot the Avenger is it's never too late. What, to earn the retro achievements? Like, no, I could do it. It's just gonna take a few years. Probably. I don't know. I'm not really thinking that way. Here, let's play a different title. How does that sound? Since I ended the Mario, I would like to figure out this fast forward. I know I did have it figured out. Maybe it was like, uh, um, 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 um. That's okay. Let's see. We were just using the MU Open emulator engine thing to run the ROM. That one right there. I was screwing around with this other one called Parallel something or other, and it was pretty nice. I'd kind of like to get it back on here. Opera, that's the 3DO driver. The 3DO emulator is called Opera. I guess it used to be called 4DO. It's true, I guess. I might have used it back then, but oh, there's Parallel. That's the one I want to use. But you see, I already have the save states with MU open, so I don't think I but then again, we do have the save file that the actual game uses that it used. Remember we're talking about the Rumble Pack? Okay. So I'm gonna back up the cooler. You can tell it's working by that little glitchy thing it did. I like this interface. This is really perfect for me. It's simple. There's a little bit of activity. It almost looks like the news, like a TV news channel. Yeah, what's the news? The news is I'm gonna get another achievement in just a few moments, and when I'm comfortable with what I got, when I'm comfortable with the system that I will be achieving with, which will be momentarily. You're on all the streams except for Twitter. That's too bad. I wonder if I can revert to my old stream key. You know what I mean? I mean, that's like I haven't really screwed around with Restream and hacking it, you know? but I could probably arbitrarily submit an arbitrary stream key in an HTTP post request, and we'll see. I guess it's not that important. I can always just share the video to Twitter and give people the option of watching it rather than just forcing them to. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah, like anybody checks my shit these days. I'm a fucking wingnut as far as you're concerned, right? Whatever. I guess it's done. Yeah, there's the backup that we just made. Might as well lock it. It works. I know, I tested it. See, it's got an exclamation point next to it. I think that is the thing that indicates that it's locked. I get a similar identifier. I get a similar marker when we go to the load core menu, and you can see it says core. That's strange though. I think I saw. Oh wait, no, it's actually manage cores. No. Excuse me. It was load core. But if you go to the very bottom of the list, that's where you see install or restore a core down at the very bottom of the list. And that gives you the option of pursuing a local core that you've already downloaded. This is convenient when you download from the nightly RetroArch server where they compile everything from source every day and have it available for download, as opposed to the stable release, which is older but typically more stable. I don't think there's like a whole lot of development that needs to be done on RetroArch at the moment. So it's like the nightly is pretty much the best, if you're gonna install it, and you don't have to compile a custom version like for on a PlayStation 3. I don't think there's nightlies available for that version of RetroArch, nor the Nintendo DS version. Yeah, I don't think so. Of course, you do require a jailbroken system to take advantage of that RetroArch stuff. You know, yeah. I don't think that's why it was exciting for me when the RetroArch was implemented on Steam. I had it on my want list for a really long time, but basically, if you're in like a kiosk mode, it's one of the ways to get at risk RetroArch on a system that isn't necessarily jailbroken. Because quite often, typically, that is the case. Is you have to have a jailbroken, just cause you know it's it requires sometimes modifying system type things in order to do this. So it's kind of like depending on what you're emulating, sometimes it has to take a priority. The virtual machine, it's basically just a virtual machine. That's all that these end, but they have like a real specific. Virtual machines do a lot more. They're like this is basically just the BIOS, and the BIOS back in the day, the basic input output system was very even on the most modern of systems. It was going to be a pretty simple BIOS. You know, if it even had an interface. You know, what I mean by that is like the Sega Dreamcast and the Sega CD. It had an interface for managing your game. Your optical media. Whereas the Sega Genesis, it didn't have an interface. You just put the cartridge in and it booted. That's what I mean. the bootstrap process. Yeah. Whatever. Where were we? We were looking for, oh yeah, load or install a core. Oh, my controller. I found this wireless doohickey. It's basically like a PlayStation 2 controller. Yeah. It doesn't have triggers. It has the bumpers. Two sets of bumpers. But it's wireless. That's nice, because you know I'm always unplugging my controller by accident. This is Lothar the Third's, technically. I don't think he needs it back. I've had it a few years. Yeah, I know, right? Born loser, it's true. uh, whatever. Okay, I'm getting a headache. All right. So, yes, managing of the cores, the emulator, if you will, the engine that drives the emulator. It's just a dynamically loadable library, but you still have to supply your own BIOS files because those are typically intellectual property, not meant to be reverse engineered or anything like that, and not meant to be copied, not meant to be used on a non proprietary system, that kind of a thing. But it's typically viewed as abandonware these days. Like if a system isn't being manufactured currently by the company that made it, like Nintendo isn't making new Nintendo 64s, just like Sega isn't making new Genesises, and henceforth that's not a product on the market. Like it's abandonware. Everybody knows that. That's the easiest way to determine if something is abandonware, as far as I know, is are they currently manufacturing it? If I call the 1-800 number or what a toll free number and ask to buy it, could I? If I can't, well then it's abandonware. That's the way I see it. That's my rule of thumb that I've always used. If I actually cared enough to, you know, a lot of times you don't have to care unless you're at work and they have like a work policy that says no pirated software, no third party software, that kind of a thing. Okay. Um, so we got this retro achievements playlist. There's nothing. I guess I better. I guess I better fill it back up again because I did have it filled up. No. This is the flashback for 3DO. I guess I scanned it. It runs pretty good. Oh, it doesn't have a court associated. How strange. Oh, and it doesn't have the 3DO company available. That's strange. Oh, and it references the old install directory and not this. This is no good. I just gotta, I need to remove this flashback. It's not true. Here, let's just do this. Okay, it's all basically good. The directory settings. Still got that, yeah. No items. It has to be the. It just has to be. No items. Well, that would be no fun. It has to have items. How are we playing Mario? It's lying to me. It's lying to me. Well, let me double check, I guess. You've got all kinds of stuff in the 3DO directory. But of course, I think I know. Yeah, it's the core. It doesn't have the opera loaded. So if I do. Don't use my stream key. That would be rude. I don't give you permission. Nobody can use my stream key. I've said it there. Alright. Oops. Give me one sec. Come on. Hold on one sec. Oh, that's a window capture. Here, I'm looking at this. Um, No? No? It should work. Hello? No, it's not. Oh, I think I have something activated that's making a black screen. That's for sure. Alright, then I'll remove. I give up. Let's add a new one. Oh, I see what the problem is. I have two of them open still. Go with the display capture for now. Still like to activate that fast forward mode that I had activated yesterday. Oh well. Frame delay. It actually says fast forward, so when I see that on the window, on the screen, I'll try to notice. Yeah, this right here. I switched it to aggregate, and I like that better because this list of titles that we're playing right here, that I'm hoping to achieve with you, my support, my fans, yeah, that is like a lot of varied systems. It doesn't do much to think of it as a per core thing. It's like better to think of it as an aggregate thing, I find. I also switched it to a portable playlist because I've had to do a few different things with this configuration. It's basically almost optimized. I'm hoping once I get it optimized, I can just leave it alone. But I keep having these little hiccups that I gotta fix because, it's an art and a science getting this stuff to run on a system that it was never meant to run on. Yeah, a different architecture. Yeah, that kind of thing. Really, it's not like as if there is a good way to do the emulation and the virtual machine stuff. And when I say a good way, I mean an efficient way that doesn't require a lot of system resources. It's kind of like the way Sony did the backwards compatible, PlayStation. I got a PS3 that will um, play PS2 titles like natively. I think it doesn't like it's really easy and there's no lag. You can tell it's like a native. This PS3 that I got that I did custom firmware E3 flash. I forget the model number, but it's kind of it's not the oldest, but it's not the newest. And then I got this other PS3 that looks to be identical, but it is slightly newer. The release it was released at a later date, and that one you have to if you're going to jailbreak it, it is a soft mod using the PS3 exploit, and it's been doable for a while. Um, the jailbreak running a hen is what it uses, the methodology of it, but that system doesn't play PS2 titles smoothly at all. Like I pretty much have to do the RetroArch emulator thing. So, and I guess it's because of the I think it's I can't remember if it's a hardware thing, like if it's actually like a different I think Sony's the RISC based, kind of like an ARM processor CPU. I just haven't like checked in a while, so but really unless you're running it on a native system that it was meant to be run on, it's basically a hack, in my humble opinion. But with the cloud being what it is, and this need that exists for having lots of different systems that are capable of doing very specific things, that's what it boils down to. Is if you've got a server and you got to do things with it, sometimes you got to run in an emulated virtual machine type environment, like a hypervisor sort of situation. And that's very commonplace these days with the cloud. Before the cloud, not really. No, because the hardware wasn't that great. Like I was saying, every time that you do Java bytecode, Java virtual machine type stuff, or any other kind of virtual machine, you know, the only reason why it's so convenient and fun these days is because the hardware is so powerful compared to like 15 years ago. Yeah, I know. It's just some perspective I have because I've been doing this a while. It's like the idea was we were going to be doing virtual machine stuff. That back in the 90s, that the idea, that was the goal. It's just like it took a long time for the systems to get cheap enough and powerful enough to really make it worth the bother because it would just be too slow. But no, that hasn't been an issue in probably 5 years, at least for me, on this ancient system. Yeah. Where were we with